Coming up on 5 Minute News. Michigan court keeps Trump on the ballot. Israel bombs central Gaza as thousands try to escape. And British man who never left the UK faces deportation. It's Wednesday, December 27. I'm Anthony Davis. The disgraced former President Donald Trump will remain on Michigan's state ballot after a ruling from the Supreme Court on Wednesday, which upheld a lower court order. The move sets the stage for the former president to participate in the Michigan primary, despite leading an insurrection against the United States. The court's decision not to move forward with a case against Trump sets the court in sharp contrast to the Colorado Supreme Court, which recently ruled to strip Trump from its state primary ballot because of his role in the January 6 riot at the U.S. Capitol. In Michigan, as in Colorado, the challengers have invoked Section 3 of the U.S. Constitution's 14th Amendment, which broadly blocks people from holding government office if they have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the U.S. Constitution, having previously sworn an oath to uphold it. Legal experts are divided on whether this provision, written against the backdrop of the U.S. Civil War, applies to the office of the president. There are also questions as to whether Trump's actions around January 6 legally constitute insurrection or rebellion. Colorado's decision is currently paused. More than a dozen states have similar litigation in the works, according to a database maintained by Lawfare, which covers national security issues. The Michigan Supreme Court justices did not give a reasoning for their decision. Israeli forces pounded central Gaza by land, sea and air today, and Palestinian authorities reported dozens more deaths, with the UN Health Agency saying thousands of people were trying to flee the fighting. Reflecting Israeli resolve to wipe out Hamas despite international calls for a ceasefire amid a humanitarian crisis, Israel's military chief said the war would last many months. There were no shortcuts in dismantling a terrorist organization, he said. Israel also signaled it could step up its response to cross-border attacks from northern neighbor Lebanon, where Hamas ally Hezbollah is based. A Gaza Health Ministry statement said an Israeli airstrike killed 20 Palestinians today near the Al-Amal hospital in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip. The Gaza Health Ministry said Israeli forces had killed 195 Palestinians and wounded 325 in the past 24 hours, bringing the recorded toll to 21,110 Palestinians killed and 55,243 wounded in Israeli attacks in the coastal Palestinian territory since October 7. Nearly all of the enclave's 2.3 million people have been driven from their homes, many several times. A 28-year-old British-born man who's never left the UK has spoken of his devastation after being told he will be deported to Portugal from where his parents arrived more than 30 years ago under a post-Brexit policy towards EU nationals convicted of crimes. Dimitri Lima was born in Lambeth in South London, does not speak Portuguese, has never travelled abroad, but he was given a deportation order by the British Home Office after serving a prison sentence for drugs offences and for carrying a taser. Lima, who has no previous convictions, is appealing against the deportation decision on the grounds that he is British and has not previously applied for a UK passport as he could not afford to pay the fees. "I'm British and I have never left the country. I just don't understand," he said. Under changes brought in after Brexit, an EU national's deportation, as that with any other nationality, is deemed conducive to the public good and in the public interest if they've received a prison sentence of more than 12 months. Previously, EU nationals who'd lived in the UK for 5 years, who had been convicted of a crime, would have been deported only on serious grounds of public policy and public security, with the threshold for those who've been continuously in the country raised to imperative grounds of public security. Lima was convicted on 2 counts of possession with intent to supply Class A drugs and for possession of a prohibited weapon in August 2020, for which he was sentenced to 4 years and 6 months in prison, of which he served just over 2 years. In his appeal against deportation, Lima maintains that he is a British citizen and that his mother and father were also settled in the UK. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.